It's the same thing over and over and over. Rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat. I don't know why anyone is surprised. We've been explaining for as long as I can remember. Gold prices tied back to stability or the lack thereof. Silver prices tied back to inflation. You cannot take 1,000,000 barrels of oil offline and folks don't notice. Been saying it over and over and over. Dynamics have changed. However, 1,000,000 barrels is in fact 1,000,000 barrels. Who it hurts more is what changed. Areas that are energy importing dependent, they're going to hurt more. And those that are not energy import dependent are going to hurt less or not at all in this. In fact, the rising prices of oil, well, that might redound to the benefit of those who are actually the exporters of it, who are not in a location where they would get hurt. They are those who are exporters of oil that have to pretty much import all their food and other necessities. So they're on borrowed time. As long as they have oil, they can get those things. When their lands don't support them being able to industrialize, and when they lack water, they're on borrowed time. Those who can grow their own food and are industrialized and have oil to produce for internal and for export, yeah, they may go through a little bit of a rough patch on the front end. And the sprint they might not do as well. However, this is a marathon. In the marathon, they win. What you're seeing now are the consequences of parties who engage in a war by choice, as some would put it. Russia was going to invade Ukraine no matter what. That was going to be inevitable. They didn't expect for it to go this way, though. And now they're approaching 500,000 dead. Now they are approaching burning a serious hole over 250 billion in gold in their sovereign wealth fund. And now they are losing over 12 billion in gold because of lost refining capacity. They can't export it. They can't get the funds in hand. They can't get the funds in hand. They cannot buy their arms from their suppliers that they shoot at the Ukrainians. The newest round of sanctions has now impacted the quote-unquote black markets and the quote-unquote gray markets that were moving the Russian oil and jet fuel, aka kerosene, and diesel fuel. And now even New Delhi and even Beijing is no longer transacting in that oil or that jet fuel or that diesel fuel. Last time we spoke on this, I said that the Russians were grabbing up all of the gasoline they could out of Belarus while banning the export of their own because they don't have enough internal supply. And now they're going at Kazakhstan to get all the gasoline they can get from them. The sanctions are seriously starting to hurt. In Beijing's case, some under their jurisdiction defaulted on their corporate bonds tied back to their real estate scenarios. And now the result is both Russia and Beijing are flying jets full of gold all across the planet to pay off their debts. And this is what's driving up demand for gold. And this is what's causing the quote-unquote gold price to spike. In combination with other factors tied back to supply routes and supply chains and labor reshuffling, inflation is starting to creep back up again. It's not so much to the quote-unquote oil price, because again, the oil price is a little higher, but not where some would expect it to be. For the simple fact, again, you have parties who produce their own oil, they are industrialized, and they can feed themselves. That's a large chunk of folks in that particular pool. The larger chunk of folks is in the pool that cannot do any of that, or some of that, or most of that. They're the ones that's feeling it more. The oil price is not going as high because I said there's a large chunk of folks that can satisfy their internal needs. So instead of the quote-unquote oil price going up by 30 or 40 worthless US dollars, as some would say, per barrel, it's been more like 10 to 12. So depending on where you are on the planet, it's going to determine how much it hurts. Depending on whether or not you have built your own independent system, will determine where you are. And this is why those who allege themselves to be the leaders of the melanated, the quote-unquote Moorish, if they do not show a depth of knowledge, wisdom, and comprehension in the subject matter we are discussing, then they are showing themselves to be incompetent. Unfortunately, for those who engage with them, they don't know the difference. And they are on a sinking ship and don't realize it. You second-generation Amexem-Moor-Empire nationals, on the other hand, have been trained better than that. We're not smarter, better, or wiser than anyone. We're just better informed because my staff in your service, we do our homework. Around the clock, we are covering vast amounts of information from different vantage points of the various departments and subdepartments. And now we have to make decisions. We determine where we're going and why. Deploy several options for each scenario because no plan survives contact with reality. So anyone alleging themselves to be a leader of any type, if they're melanated and cannot demonstrate that which is practical and sensible on how to plot and navigate a course around all this crazy, they're showing they are not a leader. They have the gift of gab. They have the pen energy that attracts folks to them. However, they are an empty shell. Some of them are basically another system of control. Some of them are guiding our kith and kindred into oblivion. They are maintaining the status quo through different means. The only difference is it's a face that looks like ours that's doing it. That doesn't make it right. And again, most of our kith and kindred, we refer to them as the ignorant innocents. They're innocent in all this. They have no idea. And there are those who are preying upon their ignorance. We call them the melanated puppets of the colonized and hostiles.